I just wanted to hit the gavel. Um, My question to Lieutenant General, with the development and maintenance of our water systems and infrastructure, the need for skilled trades has drastically increased because we will and we shall invest in our water infrastructure. Even now, more than 8,300 skilled trade job openings are across all industries in Michigan, and more than 6,200 are expected to be available each year through 2022. This creates an issue that must be included when you are planning and navigating in your job. As a co-chair of the Congressional Skilled Americans Workforce Caucus and advocate for skilled trades, I'm very concerned about the skill gap facing our country. Lieutenant General, what do you think the administration should do to increase the number of skilled trade workers, given our country's mass infrastructure needs, especially when states like Michigan will not be able to meet their labor needs?
So, ma'am, I share your concern. This goes to a much bigger question. It goes back to not just skilled trades, but really also that we're having the same thing with STEM when it comes to engineering, the capability to be able to make sure we have the capacity to be able to do this. I have not thought through how the nation should solve this issue. I stay in my lane, and I worry about making sure we've got the capability in the core. I'd love to be able to take it on, but I'm looking for innovative ways now of bringing people in. I have a hard time hiring people because of the challenges we have of going through the hiring process. I'd love to be able to, if I find somebody an apprentice and I can go buy on the shelf, I'd love to do direct hires so I can go down to an apprentice or a local co-op and to be able to bring them in. The average right now is over 100 days to be able to hire an employee. We just can't do, that goes back to this thing about process. How can we find better ways of being able to change some of the policies to be able to bring people on board? It is a concern, though, without a doubt.
Lieutenant General, you said something that is extremely important, staying in your lane. This issue of skilled trades have risen to a point that we are bordering on a future crisis. And we're going to have to be able to work across our lanes because the education, the employment, and actually the Corps should have an internal system to develop, recruit, and develop, and not just think that we're going to be able to pull in skilled workers. So I'm going to be pushing for that. I want to pose a question about water affordability. I represent the city of Detroit, and there is a growing issue because of the cost of infrastructure in communities with the affordability of water. I'm from Michigan, Flint, Michigan. I'm very, very sensitive about the infrastructure of water. As our systems continue to crumble, especially in our large urban areas, in Detroit, over 90,000 residents, which is 14% of the population, are not or cannot afford to pay their utility bills. This is due because in order to maintain the system, there is an increasing cost just for drinkable water. I know you keep saying, Your Honor, that you've only been in the job a short period, and I recognize that, but that must be on your agenda. You must be extremely aware and sensitive to the fact that affordability of safe drinking water must be on the agenda for the Corps. And I would like for you to comment.
Yes, ma'am, and I agree with you 100%. And that's not just in your area. That's all over the United States. We're seeing it in areas that you would think have plenty of water, and yet for fresh drinking water, that's not the case. That's not under the Corps' purview, is water supply. It's added at times, and I'm not sure that we shouldn't be looking at it as a nation, nationwide. But that's my feeling. Fresh drinking water is you know, it's our first job is to protect the people, provide for the people, and fresh drinking water is number one when you come to that.
It's a necessity for human life, and
It is.
must be a priority.
It is.
Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We now go on to Mr. Mitchell for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for allowing me to participate in the hearing, sir. Unfortunately,